This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, second hour. Very excited. Keith Irizarry is alongside. Excited, too, to dive into what is an absolutely loaded Major League Baseball card after a pretty decent day yesterday, an interesting day at that. But we have too much to get to recap yesterday. So let's dive right into this because I need to get your thoughts. There's a lot of games I want to get your thoughts on. But okay. I think one of the more interesting matchups that we are going to see today is in the National League. Atlanta taking on Philly, Spencer Strider versus Ranger Suarez. We saw the Phillies open up as slight favorites here, minus 115. Total opened up 8, shaded to the over at minus 122. The question here will be, what do we get from Spencer Strider? It's not a large sample size, obviously. He comes back from injury and then, of course, has to go right back to the injured list. He is not what he has shown through the 2 starts we have seen so far. But what do you think this is? Because I don't think correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, he didn't have a rehab start, right? So last time out is probably like the rehab start for him. I would expect as we get more innings under the belt, he looks more like Strider, but does that manifest today?
I'm not sure it manifests today. MLB Network put it out, right? The overall rankings. I think they did it yesterday or Sunday, and the Phillies are ranked as the top in the power rankings right now. And there's a reason why. I mean, they're hitting the heck out of the ball. They're getting good pitching. Ranger Suarez in his last outing was fantastic. I think that we're going to get a Suarez good pitched game. And when he leaves, I think the Braves will find a way maybe to get a little something there. I can't quit him. Ronald Acuna Jr., I will continue to come back to all of his props. I always try to find a way. Last week when I filled in for Shine, Acuna's first game back, I said I would put a sprinkle on a home run for him. Why not? And I would look at some of the other things. The thing I wasn't going to look at was a stolen base, and then I think he got one in that game anyway. So for this, I would go the hits, the runs, the RBIs. I saw it at minus 145. He's done this in all 3 games back, or 2 of the 3 games back. He's got at least 1 hit in every game back. He's the guy that will continue to come to. And as for Spencer Strider, just to double back there, I'm avoiding him. I need more of a sample size as to if he's going to be the guy that could have won a Cy Young 2 seasons ago, or if he's the guy that's going to struggle.
Yeah, I think a Phillies first 5 play was in the books for me here if you're going to play it. Because you mentioned everything, right, with Suarez. Because, look, so I'm lazy, Keith, right? So I don't want to look at bullpens. I don't want to see who pitched the other day. I don't want to mess with all that stuff. I want to isolate this down to 2 starting pitchers and how these lineups could perform against them and then use my handicap for that. And you mentioned Suarez, his numbers really stick out, but specifically, my man does not give up any bad contact numbers at all. He's in the 99th percentile, both hard hit rate allowed and barrel rate allowed. I think he's deserving of a better fate. The expected numbers for him, fielding independent, expected ERA, are very, very good. I don't know if, again, against a pretty good lineup Atlanta, you have to ask the question, can his regression to the mean manifest against a lineup like this? Maybe not. But with the way that Strider's been pitching and with some of the metrics telling me that Suarez is better than what he's shown, I think you could probably get out of the first 5 innings with a lead if you're the Philadelphia Phillies. But I think this is definitely at the top of the list when you're talking about games. Anything else player prop-wise that stuck out to you here?
Yeah, I got a bunch. Let's go White Sox and the Mets. Yeah. So yesterday was a weird game, right? Chicago with Adrian Hauser on the mound pitching against his former team. I mean, it's only for 1 season. They go up 1-0 and ends up 1-1. You get Lindor, the walk-off sac fly. Steve Gelb's good friend of mine gets dunked with water. It was hilarious, right? The Juan Soto angle of all of this is fascinating because he has not been very Soto-esque. The media is starting to attack him, and he is not happy at all, or it doesn't seem like it is. Well, this seems to be a good matchup against Jonathan Cannon, who he'll face, at least for a few at-bats, or hopefully 2 at-bats. He's 2 for 3, 2 home runs. Cannon has given up 6 homers in his last 9 starts. So I would go with a very, very small wager, a sprinkle on a home run at plus 420. But how about an RBI for Juan Soto? He's got at least 1 RBI in 3 consecutive games, plus 165 for Soto. Maybe he's finding a little something. Maybe he'll start to figure it out.
Yeah, I think Soto's pretty interesting because obviously he's only hitting 233 and the numbers are down. all of his expected numbers would tell you that he should be mashing here. Like, right? Like, if you look at it, he's getting a little unlucky on balls in play. Still floating around like that 240 mark or so like that when you're talking about hitting him out into the field. So that starts to regress. Like, everything else looks pretty good for Soto. So one would expect that starts to correct itself. So I'll be very interested to see if Soto win and if that starts to dig out of it and if this is going to be it. All right, let's go to a couple of others because, like you said, you've got a lot. I'm going to steal it really quickly and I want to pick your brain on this one. Dodgers at Guardians. Dustin May gets the start. Tanner Bibby's going to get the start on the other side. We're going to talk to Adam Burke, by the way, our resident Guardians fan. We'll get his thoughts on this, too. But I am a very big believer in these underlying metrics. I like to use these to play on or against guys. And I think Bibby, at some point, he's asking for it. And at some point, it's got to happen. 509, fielding independent for Bibby coming into this thing. Underlying metrics that tell you that at some point, the guy's going to probably get taken out. And maybe this is a Dodgers lineup that is capable of doing that. I don't trust May a ton, but I think that Bibby's one of those dudes that if you look at the underlying skill set here, I'm looking to go against him as often as possible. And there are worse teams to do it than with a team like the Dodgers. He doesn't generate swings and misses, not in terms of challenging guys, not in terms of getting him to swing outside of the strike zone. His walk rate's fine, some issues with hard contact. I think the Dodgers can get to him here. Not saying anything crazy. They're only $1.30 favorite on the money line. Again, going to that first 5 range, whether it's a team total over or Dodgers first 5 laying the half run. I will be going against the Guardians here today with LA.
Mookie Betts is 1 for 3 in his career against him. I'm just looking at some of the guys. Freddie Freeman 0 for 3 in his career against him. And let's look up Ohtani really quickly. Yep. He is 2 for 6 with 2 strikeouts and a home run. So with all that being said, I agree. I think you can attack Tanner there. I would probably go Dodgers. I would go I would parlay this. So BetMGM does a really good job with this. I love messing around with this so I'll go go game total. Let's go over 7.5. Dodgers win. It's a way to usually get into plus money. Something to that effect. You buy the total down by then, locking in someone on the money line.
All right, I like it. Let's go with a couple of others here. Tell me what you got here. Rockies at Cubs. German Marquez versus Cade Horton. Are we just going to get what we all expect, which is a bludgeoning of the Colorado Rockies by the Chicago Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, everything would tell you that, right? Like, yep. Remember Patrick Corbin days, right? Right now, German Marquez looks like it's Marquez days, right? Yep. He's been bad. So we could look at players and we'll look at teams. First, I'll give you a player, then I'll talk about the team. Kyle Tucker, we're going to go over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. It's minus 150. It's juiced. So how do you alleviate that a little bit? Put a sprinkle on a home run at 5-1 odds. In his career against Marquez, 2 for 5, a triple and a walk. Again, I bring up the walk because if you're new to hits, runs, RBI as a prop, it really became kind of a bigger thing last year and the year before. Walks can help you because you get on base, then you could score a run. And there's things to happen there. I often used to say this, like, there are now 3 ways for things to happen for you to hit your props. By the way, Tucker does have a 6-game hitting streak, and he's hit this prop over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI, 6 consecutive games. With all that, let's go correlation now, too. So we're going to go with the Cubs to score a lot of runs, but we want to get bang for our buck. So let's ladder this. We're going to go over 4.5 runs, minus 125. Very digestible, JVT. I could deal with that. The Rockies allow the most runs per game in the majors, 6.41 runs per game. But let's get more value here. So we're going to ladder it. We're going to go, some sort of like 75% on the over 4.5, and then 25% of your money on the 5.5, or get to the plus 135. So basically, if you're betting 100, let's do $75 on the 4.5 runs, $25 on the 5.5 runs. Hope that both happen. Boom, you're a winner. Marquez doesn't strike anybody out, by the way. 11% K rate just means there's more opportunities for the ball to be in play. And JVT, as I say, the Rockies give up a lot of runs. The Cubs also score the most runs in all of baseball at 6 per game.
What happened to my guy? German used to be a pretty decent strikeout dude. Just all these years in Colorado have broken him. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it's just he's no swing and miss stuff this year. Yeah, it's not working. That is a minuscule. I didn't realize how bad that was until you just pointed it out. That is a minuscule strikeout rate for German Marquez up to this point. All right, it's a loaded card. We're not going to be done with it at all. I want to get your thoughts, too. Big picture and on this game really quickly. Blue Jays at Rangers, also on my radar here. Bowden Francis versus Nathan Eovaldi. So a couple weeks back, I was kind of pounding the desk, and it eventually happened that Bowden Francis was going to pay for his transgressions. He had not really been pitching that well, had just been getting away with murder. Eovaldi's on the hill here today. Eovaldi's been great. He has been one of the many pitchers for the Texas Rangers that has been absolutely incredible. These guys just can't get run support to save their lives. And that is where I worry here. Because, Keith, I think Eovaldi's going to be able to match up well with this Blue Jays lineup. I think he's going to be able to continue to do what he does. I don't think Francis is particularly great. I just am not sure that I trust Texas to do what it's supposed to do against Francis, even with some of the really poor numbers for him. I want to play Texas first 5, lay that half run. But, again, I don't think that this Rangers lineup, I have been given pause, given how bad they have been. Even with the firing, I thought they were going to be better, and it still hasn't woken up.
Yeah, this is a stay away game for me because of the lack of just consistency. I think your play is probably right. The first 5 for the Rangers would be the play. If the total would have been 8.5, I think I would take the under there. The 8, I mean, I feel like 8 is probably the number. I feel like we're getting a 5-3 type of game. And I don't want to push. So I'm out on that game. I wish I had a better take for you on that one. Sometimes I'm just staying away from my game.
All right, the other one, too, that I thought was interesting, because you've got a couple more plays I want to get to on the other side. But Tomoyuki Sagano, again, another one of these guys that I think, you should not be this effective. And I think at some point that there has to be a team that can get to you. And St. Louis has been swinging the bats pretty well for a larger sample size. And I think they can get to him here today. And the market would tend to agree. We saw some spots open -120 in favor of Baltimore. We have now swung in the other direction. And Palante and the Redbirds here, a very slight favorite depending on where you shop. A 118 or 115. With that total up to 9, shaded to the under at -115. All right, we're going to have more Major League Baseball. Adam Burke's going to join us here in about 15 minutes. We'll get his thoughts on what this card's going to look like. I mentioned his Guardians, so we'll see what he's got there, and also for his article up on the website. We're also not done with this slate at all. Keith's got a ton of plays when you're talking about looking at some of these teams. So when we come back, my guy, Hunter Brown, on the hill, took it on the chin last time out. Can he bounce back against the Rays, and is there a player prop in that contest? We'll answer that question when we return.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, selfishly, because Keith's here, I am going to continue to pick his brain on some of these Major League Baseball games that we are going to have today. Very excited for this card. This card on the surface actually looks really intriguing and like a lot of fun. So I had to get your thoughts on a couple more. Let's go to the AL West, where the Houston Astros are going to take on the Sacramento Athletics. I also want to bring this up because I know you got something here. JP Sears versus Hunter Brown. Before we get to your player prop, should I be worried? I've got Hunter Brown on the American League Cy Young from before the season started. He goes out and gets knocked around against the Rays. And I think I said the Rays today. He got knocked up against the Rays. He got the Athletics today. Either way, yeah. Brown coming off of his worst start of the season. Does he bounce back against, I would say, a formidable Athletics lineup?
Yeah, the Ace lineup has been actually pretty solid. It's a bounce back spot. Hunter Brown, this is one of those. He's gonna get 7 strikeouts for you. He's going 6 or 7 innings. He's gonna look really good. I like the Astros a lot tonight. I think they win this game. I think you could look at their team total. I am anti JP Sears tonight. So go Astros, go Hunter Brown, go everything there. And then I can give you my player prop there too. I like Jose Altuve tonight. Total bases over 1.5, even money. He's got a 4-game hitting streak. I keep wondering when Jose Altuve will be Jose Altuve again. And I guess I have to continue to remind myself that age catches up to everybody. But when he has 2 or more hits in 3 of his last 4 games, 2 or more hits in 4 of his last 6 games, I like that. Against JP Sears in his career, he's got 3 doubles, batting over 300 against JP Sears. And Sears, the 18% K rate against righties is horrible. He's giving up almost 1.7 home runs per 9 to right-handed hitters. So when you put all of that together, Altuve seems like a great play tonight. I think there are other avenues too, but I'm just going to play it really safe with the even money total bases over 1.5.
All right. I feel like in a world in which a majority of people are right-handed and thus a majority of people are right-handed when they play baseball, probably not great to struggle against right-handed hitters as a pitcher. By the way, yeah, right. It's a simple concept. For those who are interested for this one, it seems like there's quite a bit of support for Houston. 88% of the tickets and the bets over at DraftKings are on the Houston Astros in this game. They're very solid favorites, rightfully so. Hunter Brown, of course, getting the start in the Astros. On the surface, look like the better team. I think the gap is a little bit tighter, but with Brown, you're going to have a pretty good shot. And speaking of, if you want to see those betting splits that I'm referencing here, go to VSiN.com. You can check them out here. Get the exclusive betting splits for as little as $9.99 for your first month. Go and get started now at VSiN.com/subscribe. It's not just for DraftKings, but for Circa as well. You can get to see what the bettors are doing at the windows. All right. One more to get to here. My Angels, Tyler Anderson will get the start. Carlos Rodon will oppose him. Shockingly enough, Keith, the winning streak in which they were just hammering home runs left and right, not sustainable when you can't really pitch particularly well, and you're relying on just pure power. Now all of a sudden they're scuffling, and I think that this is probably the team that we expected. Anderson and Rodon, any expectations here, or do you think that Anderson maybe gets knocked around and there's some opportunities in that lineup for the New York Yankees?
Sorry. I think that Anderson's going to get knocked around.
Yeah.
Obviously, Judge is always someone you could look up. And Anderson also struggles against righties. So I would look at Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie is found the fountain, not hitting home runs, but he's found the fountain of youth. In his career, he's good against Anderson, bats .333. I'll add in there the 7 walks if the hits, runs, RBIs is the prop you're looking at. I'm going Goldie. Over 1.5, total bases, -110, 4-game hitting streak. It ended yesterday. 2 or more bases, 3 of his last 4 games. He just crushes lefties. His WOBA is high at 424. Since the beginning of last year, his OPS since the beginning of May he's been ridiculous. And he bats either number one. Lately he's been batting leadoff. So you're getting extra at bats too. Give me Goldie over 1.5 total bases. Again, you can always look at Aaron Judge if you'd like to. I'll go with Goldie. Zig when other people are zagging.
All right, I like it. Last baseball game I want to get your thoughts on. Again, a really interesting matchup between the two guys on the hill. Jack Flaherty is going to get the start for the Detroit Tigers. Tigers, by the way, in contention for the most wins in the month of May. So they're going to have to continue to get this going here against the San Francisco Giants. They send out Jack Flaherty to oppose Logan Webb. Flaherty, his last 2 starts, we have seen a little bit more of an even-keeled performance, although the homers still continue to be a bugaboo. Since that game against Texas, of all teams, where he gave up 4 homers, he's given up a home run in each of his last 2 starts. Strikeouts are starting to kind of peak up a little bit here. He's got 12 over the last, not 12. He's got 14 over the last 2 outings. Flaherty does. Maybe we're starting to see Flaherty regress back to the mean a bit, although the underlying metrics wouldn't say that that is the case. And he opposes Logan Webb, who has been very consistent throughout this entire season, outside of one blemish that was at the Padres where he got knocked around. What have you made of this the last 2 games for Flaherty? Am I right in thinking maybe he's going to start to revert here, or do we get a high-scoring win if the Tigers get to Webb? Because they seem to be getting to almost everybody at this point with that lineup.
Well, isn't this what Flaherty is, right? Like every time you start thinking that Jack Flaherty is that dude and you think that, he can be a Cy Young caliber guy, he always kind of regresses. I mean, Logan Webb should get some strikeouts here. I think this is a low-scoring game. I think both pitchers are going to look above average in this one. I think we're going to get a low-scoring game in this tilt. The Detroit Tigers, how much fun are they? In the first 50 games, what was it? It was the first time it was like 30 years or 35 years that through the first 50 games of the season, they had the most wins in Major League Baseball. I thought the Tigers were going to be good this year. I didn't think they would be this. So I think you get a really good pitching matchup here. I go under.
Speaking of being lucky, I consider myself lucky because I get to work for a great network like VSiN, and they get to do cool things like sending us out to Omaha for the College World Series next month. Very much looking forward to this. We're hitting the road. We're going to be live June 12th through the 14th, broadcasting right from Rocco's. For those who don't know what Rocco's is, that is the iconic home of the Jello Shot Challenge. You can catch us, myself, Stormy Bonatoni, and Follow the Money live from Omaha, again, June 12th through the 14th. We'll bring you the sights, sounds, and best bets from the College World Series. And if you're in the neighborhood, stop by. hi, say what's up. I am more than willing to do a Jell-O shot with anybody who comes and says hello.
Yeah.
And I think Stormy would be too. Although I don't know. I've never really hung out with Stormy that much outside of work, and I don't know if she's about that life like I am. So we'll see. I think I can issue the challenge, but I don't think she can hold up her end of the bargain.
That's pretty funny. That was good. How difficult is it going to be for you to not shout Omaha, Omaha, like constantly?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Well, it's a very, especially, look, I am my loyalties are very concentrated for the most part, but growing up, I was a very big Colts fan, still would consider myself one, so very much in on the Peyton Manning thing. So it'll be hard. Yeah. I think it'll just be hard. So I'm really big. So I have a radio background. That's how I came up, right? Went to school for it, then did it.
Yep.
And, for those who are in the radio business, it's called remotes, right? So when you go remote, you get to go out, you get to experience things. Keith, I am a person that very much gets lost in the sauce when it comes to really fun environments. I will be all over the place when we go out there. I will be interacting with people. I will be distracted. I hope that this does not take me off the trip, readily admitting that I will not be fully focused on what I'm supposed to do. But I totally am, I guess, a creature of empathy when it comes to party environments. Like, I'm totally down with it, and I will be on the same level as everybody around me.
I don't think that would take you off. Listen, let me be I'm going to be your speaker here for you. I'm going to speak on your behalf. I mean, JVT is a man of the people, and right. He will immerse himself into everything that is going on in Omaha. When you want to feel the salt of the earth, when you want to know what the environment is like, you send JVT. Simple as that.
I think that's perfect. I think that's absolutely perfect. See, I will give you everything. I will give you everything I have when I go out to Omaha. Now, speaking of, I have been getting a little wrapped up. I think tomorrow we're going to try to get Aaron Moore on when it comes to the College World Series. Now, again, not set. We did get the bracket, though, for the tournament as a whole yesterday. Very excited. I was telling, I don't know if we did this off the air or on the air, one of my favorite stories for this whole thing, and it's a very long shot here. I don't expect them to potentially get there, but Nebraska has been a great story. The ridiculous win that they get over Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament, subsequently winning that thing for a second straight year. They're in the Chapel Hill region. North Carolina, heavy favorite to win the thing at minus 300. Cornhuskers 9-1 to get out of it. But this baseball tournament, since the conference tournaments, has been a ton of fun. And I think there's a lot of great stories. For me, at the top of the list, Nebraska has been up there. But anything has stuck out to you at this point right now as we get this field set? What are you excited for?
How about Northeastern? Like a weird Northeastern team, right? Like from the Northeast, where you don't typically have like stud players and stud teams. A 2.92 ERA as a team this year. It's better than Coastal Carolina, and most people believe Coastal Carolina may have the best pitching staff. They have hitting. I like Northeastern, and the number is nice there too at 5-1. That's pretty good. Coastal Carolina. I know I was talking about this with Stormy actually a couple of weeks ago. Coastal Carolina is a fascinating team, and Arkansas, right? Like a couple of seasons of falling a little bit short in the College World Series. They intrigued me as well.
Yeah, let's see. As we have these odds to make the College World Series, keep them up. I want to compare and contrast here. I've got Florida State at plus 250 to make it. They are at plus 265. I had Florida at plus 220 to make it. They are 3-1 here. And then Oregon at plus 170. All right, I've got them 2-1, so a little bit of closing line value. Those were just pure blind tails of our guy Grissom. All right, when we come back, speaking of our guys, Adam Burke is one of them. He's going to join us, get his thoughts on what he's seeing today in Major League Baseball as well. So don't go anywhere. It's Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
I am but a humble man, and so when I am given requests, I will fulfill them. And so our producer, Brian Ortega, has asked me to say that Mitch Moss is a Wisconsin fan that just likes to hate on his teams but is not a real fan. I don't know where that hatred comes from, but it's one of the many things and many shots he's taken at Mitchell Moss behind the scenes. But that is the one he has asked me to go to the public with. So with that, we welcome in or what do you got? What do you got before we go?
Really quick,
yeah, of course.
I just want to say I love Mitch Moss. Known him for a while. Think he's a fantastic guy. And that one I don't endorse. I don't endorse bashing Mitch Moss. So Ortega, I'm anti-you right now.
I've known Mitch longer, and I don't like him. Progressive guest line. Adam Burke is nice enough to give us some time here today. Adam, How you doing, buddy? How we feeling? The AL Central is looking pretty competitive all of a sudden. Are we feeling good about what seems to be a hot and heavy division?
I don't know if I'd say I'm feeling good about it, but it's certainly interesting, the way that things have shaken out here so far. I mean, I felt kind of validated with the way that the Royals started this season, and then all of a sudden they got really hot and wound up winning a bunch of games, stringing together some really good play. And I don't think the Twins are very good, but they've done the same thing. So I guess I'm just kind of waiting for, my Cleveland Guardians to go on that 10-plus game winning streak that everybody else seems to have gone on here. But should be a fun race throughout the course of the summer. And, with any luck, with any good health, Cleveland should be getting better as the season goes along with Shane Bieber's return. Hopefully Chase DeLauder gets called up here very soon. So it's going to be an interesting race all the way throughout. And I'm curious to see how many playoff teams out of the AL Central we get this year.
All right, so Guardians hosting the Dodgers tonight. What's the play in this one?
Yeah, so I'm on the Guardians here in this one. I realize it's probably going to come off as a bit of a homer pick since I am a Guardians fan. But look, I knew that yesterday they were kind of screwed. They were not a good matchup from a lineup standpoint against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and it looked that way pretty much. And Gavin Williams is a guy that's very inconsistent, not only from start to start, but really from pitch to pitch. And I figured the Dodgers would be able to jump on him. Wasn't super eager about laying the price that was out there in the market, but I was right on that game. I feel like I'm right on this game here today, too, because the sinker sweeper arsenal for Dustin May sets up a lot better for this Cleveland offense, sets up a lot better for their left-handed batters as well. Even though May's been better against lefties than righties this year, when you dig a little bit deeper here, there's a lot of signs that he's not going to continue to do what he's been doing against lefties, especially with the sinker. Lefties have a 321 expected batting average on that pitch, 546 expected slugging. He's well over 100 points below both of those in terms of actual results. So lefties are going to start to get to Dustin May. I think the K percentage increase is fraudulent. He still has a single-digit swinging strike percentage, so I don't think his high strikeout rate is going to continue. And Tanner Bybee, he can get a little bit emotional in these big starts, but last 38 innings for him, 2.37 ERA, 3.60 FIP. He's cut down on the hard contact, cut down on the home runs, had a lot more swing and miss in his last start against Detroit, and a lot more chase as well. I think he's kind of figuring this thing out. Plus, he pitches extremely well at Progressive Field. Guardians, full bullpen on tap. I like the Guardians here getting a plus money price at home tonight with Bybee over May.
So, Adam, you and I think, have some similar mindsets when it comes to looking at these guys, their underlying metrics, trying to find, some cracks in the armor, if you will, whatever it is. For a guy like Bybee, how do you balance recent stretch of good play where the metrics are telling you it's sustainable versus season-long? Because the season-long fielding independence over 5. And so that would kind of tell me that he is due to get knocked around. So what's the balance there? How do you handle that?
So when you think about FIP, right, and you think about the way that stat is put together, it's only based on 4 things: strikeouts, walks, hit by pitches, and home runs. For whatever reason, Bybee's strikeout percentage is down quite significantly this year. So that's definitely going to hurt him, not only from a FIP standpoint, but also an expected ERA standpoint. He's given up 11 home runs on the season, but he gave up 3 in his start against Baltimore on April 17th, 4 in his start against the Angels on April 5th, which is kind of a homecoming type of start for him. So 7 of his 11 home runs have come in 2 of his 10 starts. It's really hard when you get buried early in the season, whether it's ERA or FIP, to build up enough sample size for that to kind of stabilize and normalize a little bit. I think Bybee is on that path now. I'm still worried about the lack of swing and miss, but again, some positive signs, almost a 15% swinging strike rate with 8 strikeouts in his start against Detroit last time out. Maybe he's starting to leverage that arsenal a little bit better. So because the home runs came so early in the season, I'm hoping that it's something that he's gotten past now, and we just need his sample size to catch up and lower his FIP a bit.
All right, so Adam, I want to say it's 4 years in a row, I have picked Jose Ramirez as my, dark horse to win the AL MVP. This was the year I did not, okay? I did not give that out, and he now has a 19-game hitting streak. What is his chances to win the MVP in the AL?
Probably slim to none because Aaron Judge exists. So, it's going to be very, very hard for him to do that. But look, Jose Ramirez got off to a bit of a slow start, actually landed on his wrist trying to steal a base early on in the season. And it felt like he was kind of dealing with the after effects of that for quite a while. But now here, as you mentioned, 19-game hitting streak, average up over 300, which he hasn't done actually since 2017. So I don't think he's going to stay there. But The power's come back a little bit. He's been kind of the player that you expect. And defensively, his play has gotten a little bit better here of late as well. He's a guy to me, though, that just the body type is hard for me to buy on for the length of a full season. He's going to go through periods where he doesn't feel right. Things get banged up, stuff like that. So it's hard for me to buy in for the full 162. In terms of most valuable players to their respective teams, he's a top 3 guy in the American League. In terms of most valuable guy overall, it's hard to look at anybody other than Aaron Judge with the start that he's off to.
All right. What about the Red Sox today? What are we seeing for Boston later this evening?
Yeah, so the Red Sox actually don't have a listed starter yet, at least from what I'm seeing across most places. I think it's going to be Cooper Criswell. That's the direction it's kind of going. I think the Red Sox want Richard Fitz to make another rehab start down in AAA. So I think it'll be Criswell and kind of a bullpen game for them. The Brewers' offense is not very good, so you can throw any average-ish type of pitcher at them, and that's a guy that's going to have a chance. They're borderline bottom 5 offense against righties. They've not been very good here, lately in terms of their performance over the last couple of weeks. But really what I'm looking to pick on here is I'm looking to pick on Aaron Savale. I like Aaron Savale. I think there's a lot of good stuff in the arsenal, but this is just his 3rd start back. And in his 2 starts, one against the Yankees, one against the Pirates, swing strike percentages of 5.9 and 5.5%. Boston's biggest issue on offense, by far, is how much they swing and miss, how much they strike out. When they make contact, home or away, they tend to have a lot of success with that. Savale is not a guy that's going to rack up strikeouts, not a guy that's going to get swing and miss. I don't think the Brewers' bullpen really has a ton of swing and miss guys either. I guess this is a really, really good spot for the Red Sox offense, and I like them as a plus money price here at American Family Field.
Yeah, I like Rafael Devers tonight. I'm waiting on some of those props to pop up. Reds and the Royals, Singer and Lynch. Who you like in this one?
Yeah, so this is one where I do like the Royals. Daniel Lynch is a guy that I think if he was starting full-time, he'd actually be kind of a Chris Bubich light, which would be a Cole Reagan's light type of guy. But the Royals have had so much success with their pitching development here of late. Brian Sweeney, who was the Guardians bullpen coach, now the pitching coach for the Royals, he's really developing a lot of these guys in a very, very efficient manner. And their bullpen is a top 5 unit by ERA. So in this Johnny Holstaff type of game here for the Royals, where Lynch will open, maybe go a couple of innings and then turn it over to somebody else, I kind of like the way this sets up for the Royals. But the biggest thing to me, Brady Singer's struggling. His 4 May starts, ERA of nearly 8. He's not getting a whole lot of swing and miss, and there's not a lot of depth to the arsenal. He's primarily a sinker slider guy. He was with the Royals organization for 7 years, a major leaguer for 5. They know how he wants to pitch. They know the psychology of when he's going to throw his pitches, in what counts, in what areas. And if you can eliminate doubt, which you can do with a 2-pitch pitcher, I think the offense is set up very well for success. So you've got a guy who's struggling without arsenal depth, with a team that knows him really, really well. The Royals are not a good offense, but I think it makes their offense better here tonight, and I laid that price with Kansas City at Kauffman Stadium.
All right, so you're a very smart man. We like analytics, all these sort of things. Is this a correlation or causation thing? Stormy Buonantony not in studio, and neither are you.
So I had some buddies in town last week. Then Matt Devine, our guide editor, was in town. Apparently, I just kind of wore my body out, and I wound up sleeping too late today to get the article done and make it down there. So it's not a you thing, JVT, I promise.
Okay, all right. I don't know. It seemed like it. I'm willing to take on larger workload. I'm going to start writing the end. When is the NFL guide assignments coming out? When do I get to find out?
Today. You're getting them today.
Okay, all right. Let's see. I'm going to guess AFC East because I did request that. I think I got my request, and I don't know what else, but I'm looking forward to it. Adam, what's going on up at the website outside of the usual articles that we have up?
Yeah, a lot of great stuff right now. I mean, the NBA and NHL playoffs still going on. Zachary Cohen, Dan Karpik, Jonathan Davis covering all those things for us. We're not that far away from the Belmont, so we'll have plenty of coverage of that coming up as well. Steve Makinen's doing his NFL, summer series of articles. So a lot of great stuff over there at the website for you to check out, and I highly encourage everybody to do so.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Adam Burke, our big boss here behind the scenes at the website. And if you want to take your betting to the next level, as well as a VSiN Pro subscription, check out our friends at First Bet. Whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream Park, or Saratoga, First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. FirstBet.com, #1stbet.com. Promo code is VSiN200. Score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Bet smarter today at FirstBet.com.
Your wealth makes you an irresistible target to online criminals. According to Saltus Wealth, 41% of high net worth individuals report having been victims of financial crime. Unfortunately, off-the-shelf digital security solutions aren't robust enough to protect high-profile individuals like you. So what can you do? Rely on Concierge Digital Security from Reputation Defender. Concierge Digital Security is not just another app to install, it's a team of experts working in the background to protect you and your family. Behind the scenes, Reputation Defender bundles a suite of best-in-class security solutions, covering virtually every aspect of your digital life, from digital identity to online privacy, identity fraud, insurance, and home device protection. Your concierge helps manage all of these for you. Visit reputationdefender.com/success to learn more or schedule your private consultation. That's reputationdefender.com/success.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, wrapping things up here on Money Moves. A big shout out to Keith Irizarry, who is with us today. We'll be back on Thursday and Friday as we will get ready for the weekend that will be. Very excited to also find out, because we have not done this yet today, is where in the world is Stormy Buonantony? Now, I am a little confused because as we throw this picture up, Stormy is on vacation, but she's just out at Caesar's Palace, apparently. I think that is what we're looking at here. What is that?
No, that's a Trevi fountain. That's beautiful. You throw it, that's what you throw. So you take the coin, you throw it over your shoulder, you make the wish, and it comes true.
Oh, I mean, I thought that was just outside of the Caesar's Palace. I mean, they're both identical. Okay, so apparently she's still out there. Yeah, very similar, similar aesthetics, similar aura, I would assume as well. You know, there's nothing like the flamingo traffic just blaring, beside you while you're experiencing the Trevi Fountain remake. So that is Stormy and her husband Chris. They're out and about. And you said you've been there? You've been to Italy?
Yeah. So 2 summers ago, we did a cruise where my wife, me, and my 2 sons went to Rome first, so did like the Colosseum, did everything, then hopped on the cruise. It took us to Greece, then to Turkey, more Greece, more Italy, and then we flew home.
Cool. Sounds good. How old were your kids when you took them?
Austin was 12 and Alex was just turning 9.
Okay. All right. That makes a little more sense. I've got a 6 and a 3-year-old, and I was like, there's no shot I would live if I might come back without 2 kids. Like, I think that's the way that trip would probably go.
I mean, I hear there's some great schools out in Italy, so,
Yeah, right. Just boarding schools. You know what? You keep them. We'll come back in about 6 years or so. We'll see if they've shaped up or not. Yeah. All right, so Stormy out and about. Yesterday was the Spanish steps. And then apparently maybe she took those steps up to the Trevi Fountain. Who knows? I don't know the outline. Ortega seems to know the geography of Italy very well. Have you been out there before, too? All right, because he accused earlier of the northern part of Italy being a bunch of fat slobs, and then the southern part of Italy is more healthy. So I think that's the way I'm just going to view Italy now forever going forward, is that the south part's a bunch of skinny people, and then the northern part's a bunch of fat people, and that's pretty much about it. All right, with that, I don't want to hear any arguments or factual statements against my theory now about Italy. We get to basketball tonight, and we can tie that into some of the best bets that we have. And by the way, best bets here at the Vegas Stats and Information Network, brought to you by our friends over at G-Bank, and we are introducing the $500 trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VSiN. All you need to do is open a G-Bank Visa signature credit card. In the first 90 days, deposit and play through $1,000 at First Bet to trigger the $500 trifecta. You'll receive $200 in cashback rewards on your G-Bank Visa signature credit card. First Bet will give you a $100 deposit match, and then VSiN completes the trifecta with a free VSiN Pro subscription through August 31st, a $200 value. That's the $500 trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VSiN. Head to VSiN.com/GBank. That is VSiN.com/GBank. One-time promotion limited to customers opening a new account. In response to this offer will not apply to request to convert existing accounts. Apply today. Terms and conditions apply. So the best bets, and we can tie this into analysis for the game overall. I will say this, Keith. I do think the Pacers are the side here today. So we will be at odds there. To me, it's just the number play. However, not a bet I have yet made, because you have hit on this key point for me, even though we haven't really given it real voice, which is Aaron Nesmith is a game-time decision today. And that does give me pause. You tell me that Neesmith's going to play. We'll see here in a little bit whether or not he participates in shoot-around. But if he's going to participate, he's going to be out there. I will feel more bullish in laying a short number with Indiana. I think that number is short. I think these two teams are equals. I think they should be priced as such. And I got there yesterday with the, hey, this number should be shorter play, but just barely, as the Timberwolves barely stayed inside of that number. And I think that's the case here. I just think number-wise, the play is Indiana if they are at full strength. This should be more like 3.5 because this is what the market's been pricing for these teams at home court. And if I think they're equals, that's what it should be. But nothing yet there, and I am off the Obi Toppin train for this series as well. I've played his over rebounds, got 2 out of the 3. We saw his minutes decline. I don't think it's a series for him. What do you have here in this series tonight?
Well, I told you, if you want to roll with Obi Toppin, some way go under on his points, which is 8.5.
Sure.
So I think your thinking is correct about Neesmith. My gut is that Neesmith is going to be a little bit banged up and hobbled, and he's not going to be vintage himself on defense. We know what he did in game number 1 with the 6 3-pointers in the fourth quarter and the 8 3-pointers in the game. Like, that can happen even if you are unhealthy. I just don't think the defense is going to be there, which leads me to believe that Jalen Brunson is going to have himself a day. Every single time he's had what we would be considering a bad game, he has bounced back with an elite game. So we're going to go over 36.5 points and assists on this one. Got in at minus 118. Shop your book. See if you can get even a better number there. He's topped this in 2 of the 3 games in this series, 3 of the last 6 games if you go all the way back to the Celtics. And this, to me, again, our last guest with Adam, you meant correlation, causation, all that kind of stuff. If there's a correlation to draw, it's if Neesmith is banged up and can't play defense the way that they need him to, that means that someone else would either slide over to Brunson, where it may not work as well, or Brunson just goes off. So I'm going to take Brunson and go off tonight.
All right. We'll see. And, like, the other facets of his game, he has to be better, to reiterate that. And I think
can't turn the ball over so much.
Yep. Can't turn the ball over. He's got to stop fouling, too. I mean, that's you've got to be able to be available for the most part. And, again, they have figured out, and I want to see if you agree with me here. I think this is a big litmus test for Tom Thibodeau because he stumbled into a solution in the last game. Will he keep it? And that solution is staggering Brunson and Cat more. He's going to start them. Yes. That is not a question. You're going to play them together. That's not a question. But you need to stagger them more because when they're on the floor together, that is a very big red flag for teams to attack in terms of pick and rolls. And I think that has burned them throughout this season and in this series. I wonder if he's going to stick to that a little bit more, regardless of foul trouble, and actually split them up a little bit and put one on the floor by themselves, because that did work for them in the last game.
I'm not the only one that's had their doubts about Tibbs and his coaching style and his lack of a rotation. I think you were spot on there. I'd love to see them, stagger that a little bit. The Jalen Brunson aspect of things is absolutely fascinating and intriguing to me, because he's all world, right? He is an all-star. He is a superstar. He is one of the best closers in the game, all of that. But it's not the prettiest brand to watch. And you're noticing the 2 big runs that the Knicks have made this postseason, during the Pacers, have come when Brunson's off the court, right? The 14-point run in game 2, and then in game 3, the run when he was on the bench and Cat turned into the greatest player that's ever played basketball for like an 8 to 10 minute stretch in the fourth quarter. Again, this is not a shot at Jalen Brunson. It's just a reality. Yep. You can see it. The team moves the ball better without him. So he needs to take a little bit of almost like a look in the mirror and go, all right, maybe I need to dribble just a hair less.
Yep. All right. I will say I do have a play here, but the numbers moved already. I did bet under 222.5, so it's not worth giving out, obviously. But I will say that if that gets back up to 221.5, I think that's a playable number under. We'll see if that's the case. I don't mean to distract, but before I move on from less serious things, we've talked a lot about player props, things like that. Anything you want to leave anybody else with as part of our best bets as we move forward into the day?
Yeah. I'll give you a couple. All right, so on the basketball side of things, I gave you Brunson. I like OG Anunoby to get over 2 steals, two or more steals, plus 126. It's something he does routinely. I like TJ McConnell to get over 8.5 points. It's about even money. He's got 10 or more points in all 3 games of the series. Baseball-wise, Jose Altuve, we're going to go over 1.5 total bases, even money. He's on a 4-game hitting streak, and we're going to go Paul Goldschmidt over 1.5 total bases, minus 110, 2 or more bases, 3 of his last 4 games.
All right, love it. All right, go to VSiN.com, picks page up there, all the great articles we have as well. In wrapping here, first off, coming up next, we have prop points that's going to take you on for the next hour before leading into Adam Shine, who I believe is back now, from 3 to 4. And then our guys follow the money for 3 hours, leading you into the start of the day's contest, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., part of our great lineup here. A quick aside, I think I told you guys this really quickly for 2 things. First, we just got a fresh batch of pictures from Stormy Buonantony, so very much looking forward to those tomorrow. Also, the other day, Keith, my wife stubbed her toe, and I thought she was being overreactionary, like, come on, relax, doesn't hurt that bad. I just got a picture of an X-ray. Her pinky toe is broken in half. Like, she broke the bleep out of that thing. That is absolutely crazy. I'm very distracted, and I also feel very bad because I told her just to rub some dirt on it.
So advice, go home with flowers today or box of candy? I don't know.
I mean, in all fairness, there was a time in which I also broke a toe. We are a family which has broken multiple toes. And she also kind of scoffed at me and told me to rub it, just rub some dirt on it. It's fine. And then when my toe turned purple and swollen, then she was like, okay, I feel bad. So it's a little revenge. Yep.
You're good.
All right. Keith is going to be back on Thursday. Awesome 2 hours. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate it. Mark Malus is going to be with us tomorrow, and we're going to have a good week. We'll have more from Stormy Buonantony as we find out where she's at as she is traveling on vacation. Remember, coming up next, prop points. Enjoy, folks, and good luck tonight.